Hello, everyone, and welcome to our October Cub Scout Roundtable. I am Vinny Close, Assistant Council Commissioner for Roundtable Program and Support, and we are so happy that you've joined us tonight. We've got a lot to cover, and so let's get started like we always do, with the Pledge of Allegiance, the Scout Oath, and the Scout Law.
Those in uniform, please salute. Those who are not, put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
All right, thank you. Remember that we'd like to feature your pack in future videos doing the Pledge, Oath, and Law. If you're interested, let us know at the email address that you see on screen.
To the flag of the...
There it is right there. Yeah, so if you'd like to be interested in doing your video, let us know at the email address on screen and we'll make arrangements. So up next is our safety moment, and this month we have a presentation from the National Council on weather-related safety.
Robert Baden-Powell once said the definition of the Scout motto, "Be prepared," is to think out and practice how to act on any accident or emergency so that he is never taken by surprise. We need to be aware of our surroundings and their changing conditions, including what is happening with the weather. Severe weather hazards such as tornadoes, lightning, hail, flash flooding, and downbursts can be dangerous. Each requires a basic understanding of what to do so that you can protect yourself and your scouts. Weather conditions can seem daunting, ranging from high heat with no humidity to torrential downpours with possible flooding. However, some key basic principles can help everyone prepare. Here are a few for you to consider. Know the weather forecast before you set out on your trip and prepare for the types of weather hazards that are associated with your destination, such as tornadoes, lightning, snow, torrential rains, and high winds. Double-check weather conditions immediately upon arrival to verify forecasts. The weather can be integral in becoming lost or injured. If visibility becomes limited, respond quickly to gather the scouts in your care and be sure you know where the designated emergency shelters in the area are located. The BSA's online weather hazards training, available through my.scouting.org, is a great resource in this area and should be renewed every 2 years. You may never encounter a severe weather hazard, but by learning and following these key principles, you can move forward with confidence and provide every opportunity for your scouts to participate in Baden-Powell's outdoor laboratory. Find more tips and resources on weather safety and other safety moments on the Scouting Safety website.
All right, well, I want to welcome Patrick Scherer, our Scout Executive here in Gray Trail Council. Thank you for your hospitality tonight, letting us invade your rumpus room here. Talk to us for a minute about why we're doing this particular format, because this is a different format, but yet it's something that you did at your previous Scout executiveship, if that's a word. I just made one up, maybe. I just made it. In your previous council, before you came here to Gray Trail, kind of why we're doing it in this particular format.
Sure. Well, one of the things that we've always wanted to is get all of the information that we do at roundtables into more of our leadership's hands. So one of the things that COVID actually taught us was that our best attended roundtables in years were our virtual roundtables that we did during the COVID outbreak. So one of the things we asked our Cub Scout leaders, especially here locally, was how would you like to have roundtable presented? And virtual was one of those choices.
Yes, it was.
And overwhelmingly, they selected an online format.
Yeah.
You totally understand. It allows the information to be available to them 24/7. They can watch it live. They can look back at it at any time, as opposed to an in-person meeting. Yeah. Now, our Scout leaders, or Scout BSA leaders, told us almost the exact
They
opposite.
did. They like the social hour.
They
call
wanted a
it.
social hour. They wanted to get together, and we're still keeping those programs and those kind of things intact for our scout leaders. But roundtable is so important, especially for a unit leader that's trying to come up with new program ideas, having the most current information. And this is the best way that we can try and get this to you in 1 hour format once a month.
Yeah, and especially with the new Cub Scout program that just started in June, we have a lot of new material that we need to present to everybody. So this is a good way to disseminate that to everybody as a whole.
Oh, it's not only the new Cub Scout program. We have new unit member renewals, unit renewals. There's a whole bunch of things that are all brand new this year. So we want to make sure that you have the most current information that we have and get it to you as fast as we possibly can.
Yeah, talk about for a second the importance of making sure that everybody in the unit is aware that we're doing this, whether it's live or whether it's they watch it later on replay.
Well, sure. Den leaders deliver the most program in the Cub Scout program. They have 2 den meetings a month. A Cub Master only has 1 meeting a month. So it's important that the den leaders get this information so that they can help deliver the correct program, get the information to their families and to the kids that they serve. So sharing this, making sure that they're aware of that it's available. Not everybody, it's not a mandatory. It's something that will make your job easier as a Cub Master or as a den leader is by watching these videos
Absolutely.
on a monthly basis.
Yeah. Anything that you can do to help the den leaders, that's a great thing. Especially if you missed last month, a lot of the topics that we talked about last month were specific to den leaders. So Cub Masters, if you're watching this and you didn't see last month, let your den leaders know about it. They can go watch the replay anytime. A lot of great information on training and program and content that was specific to den leaders, as well as programs that we have coming up that we'll talk about later tonight, like the haunted hay rides, some Cub leader training that's coming up.
Definitely, yeah.
Lots of fun stuff.
Baloo, all kinds of
Baloo, absolutely.
opportunities to get your scouts out camping.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Up next is our membership moment, where the topic this month is year-round recruitment. So thank you, Pat.
All right, sounds good. Thanks,
great,
Vinny.
great to have you here. All right, so we're going to talk about year-round recruitment. Historically, there's been a strong emphasis on fall recruitment drives to replenish your unit's membership. Spring recruitment drives were recently added to include more youth during summer activities. However, we're now in a time where year-round recruitment is not only possible, it's preferable to the once or twice a year recruitment events. Now, with online registration and year-round programs, a youth can join whenever it fits their schedule and lifestyle. Youth who participate in fall or spring sports can join once their playing schedule is over. We also have the possibility of running recruitment events in colder weather over the winter when many sports programs are on hiatus. The new Cub Scout program does not penalize the scout for missing the fall or any one season for that matter. Now, units should plan for year-round recruiting and a year-round activity calendar that keeps their scouts busy and actively advancing regardless of the time of year that they join the program. Benefits include a richer program year with 4 seasons full of new and engaging activities to help keep scouts involved. Year-round recruitment can be event-based or happen when scouts invite friends to join or come to a fun activity. So, let us know in the comments on the chat, what type of year-round recruitment activities does your unit hold? Again, let us know in the chat. Now, you can read all about these techniques on the Gray Trail Council's recruiting site right there at the bottom of the screen at gtcbsa.org/recruit. All right, time now for our first of 2 hot topics for tonight. And it's a new video for October from the National Council, and it's covering resources for den leaders, both new and current, relating to advancement and recognition of that advancement. Presenting the video tonight is our old friend, Anthony Berger, the National Director of Cub Scouting.
Recognition is powerful in child development and shaping behavior. Cub Scouting recognition is a form of positive reinforcement. Now, simply defined, positive reinforcement is giving someone a reward, like a recognition, when they display a desired behavior. Now, eventually, an association between the desired behavior and the positive reinforcement is made, so they display the desired behavior more often. This is why recognition in Cub Scouting, especially in the age ranges that we work with, is an important part of our program. We want Cub Scouts to establish good habits. The habits we want to establish is simply the aims of scouting: leadership, character, citizenship, and personal fitness. The character traits are simply the Scout Oath and Scout Law. Welcome to Roundtable. How we go about establishing these good habits are the methods of scouting. The advancement program is one of the 7 methods used to do so. In this roundtable, we're going to talk about advancement as a method. Now, I encourage you to watch the online training module in My.Scouting's Learning Center for Cub Scouting, simply called Advancement, if you have not already done so. Now, this 10-minute module covers the basics of Cub Scout advancement. Now, we're going to talk about the key elements to the advancement program and how you can enhance your advancement program in your pack or den. Now, in the opening comments, we talked about recognition being positive reinforcement to help establish good habits. This is a very simplistic explanation of positive reinforcement. It is the basis upon which the Cub Scout advancement program is designed. Now, I'm going to demonstrate how this method is designed to work in Cub Scouting. When we want a Cub Scout to develop the habit of healthy eating, we do so by creating requirements to learn about healthy snacks. Requirements include fun activities like making and eating a healthy snack. For example, make your own trail mix. And after completing all the requirements for an adventure, they are rewarded with a shiny adventure loop. In this example, there are 2 very distinct positive reinforcements that are used. Now, the first positive reinforcement is the activity done to complete the requirement. Fun is a huge positive reinforcement, like hands-on activities. It is not enough to learn about trail mix. If we really want to establish a healthy eating habit, they need to make it. At this age of development, Cub Scouts learn best when they are in a physical activity associated with it. Now, a tip from the experts on this. The activities found in den meeting resources are designed to be fun and interactive and safe. So with that in mind, if you know of a fun way to complete a requirement or to add extra fun to it, and it meets the standards of safe activities found in the Guide to Safe Scouting, go ahead, do it. Now, my friend Shelley planned the Germs Alive adventure for her son's wolf den. Shelley had a twist to demonstrate how germs are spread. She had a mystery scout who she pulled aside before the meeting began and applied a very cool product called Glow Germ. Now, this Glow Germ is a product designed to teach proper hand washing. Now, no one else knew who was infected. Everyone wore masks and gloves during the meeting, but towards the end of the meeting, she shared with the den the lessons on how germs are spread. And then she took out a black light to demonstrate how just one person can spread germs. Now, all the other scouts could actually see where the germs landed. This was a super creative way to enhance the fun of this activity. It was simple and safe. Now, I'm positive that the Cub Scouts that night will remember this lesson behind the activity and how quickly germs can spread and the importance of hand washing. Fun activities are one part of positive reinforcement used in Cub Scouting. The second part of positive reinforcement with advancement is when an adventure is completed. Each Cub Scout is presented with an adventure loop or pin. Now, this brings up an extremely important factor in positive reinforcement, and that is time. The shorter the time between the behavior and the reward, in this case, the adventure loop or pin, the higher the likelihood of success. The longer the time between the behavior and the reward, the less likelihood of success. To the point that when enough time passes, there's absolutely no connection between the behavior and the reward. This is why you want to reward Cub Scouts instantly when they complete an adventure with their adventure loop or pin. Now, preferably at the conclusion of the den meeting or when the activity occurred. This is the method that makes the most out of positive reinforcement and is the preferred method. Now, yes, I know some packs save their presentations of the adventure loops and pins for pack meetings. The problem is that the time between when the adventure was completed and the presentation of the advancement at the pack meeting is way too long to be effective. Young Cub Scouts need instant recognition to see the connection between the behavior and the reward. Their concept of time is about the here and now. The best method is for den leaders to have the adventure loops or pins purchased before the adventure is completed. This is why adventure loops and pins do not require advancement reports. We want the den to have them to present at the den meeting or activity when the Cub Scouts complete the last requirement for the adventure. Now, recognition can still be done at the pack meeting by recognizing the Cub Scouts' accomplishments, but it frees up the time it takes to distribute adventure loops and pins. I understand that this may be a fundamental change to how you conduct your den and pack meetings, and yes, there are alternatives. But here's the takeaway on this topic. Once a Cub Scout completes an adventure, they need to be rewarded instantly in order to make the association between the behavior and the reward. Completing an adventure at a den meeting, then getting the adventure loop at the same time as the meeting is the most effective way to utilize the advancement program. For many children who are Cub Scout age, they are unable to make the connection between their behavior and the reward when the reward is given days or weeks later. Now, this is actually called delayed reinforcement. And delayed reinforcement is more successful with older youth and adults and is an important trait. For example, becoming an Eagle Scout is one way we use delayed reinforcement in Scouts BSA advancement. In Cub Scouting, knowing the reason why we do things will help you understand how each part of the program works with the other to provide a holistic approach to working with children. Okay, that's enough of the Psychology 101 class. For some occasions, like rank advancement, a pack might hold an award ceremony. We know that some leaders love creating their own unique award ceremony. Often, this ceremony is to complement a theme that they have in mind. Now, other leaders may not be as creative at developing a script. We have tips that will help you either if you're writing your own or using an existing script. Award ceremonies are separate from instant recognition of adventures. They work in concert with instant recognition. Here are the elements that make for a great award ceremony. Keep it short. In the mid-1800s, speeches were expected to be long, hours long, and the length of a speech was kind of a reflection and directly tied to the importance of the topic. But President Abraham Lincoln proved that to be wrong. One of the most famous speeches, the Gettysburg Address, was one of the shortest speeches of its day. So don't make the mistake in thinking that a great ceremony has to be long. In fact, long ceremonies tend to lose their impact. If you're doing a ceremony for the pack, time the ceremony. How long does it take for someone to read through the whole script? Now, factor in the time for you to call up a Cub Scout and for them to come to the stage, for their parents or guardians to join them if they're doing so, for you to present the award, and all the other details. Now, a tip from the experts, have a printed program that lists all the ranks and awards you're presenting that night. This allows the audience to follow along. And another tip is to have an area just off of the stage where those who will be called up next are placed. This staging will greatly reduce the time it takes for Cub Scouts to come up to the stage to receive their recognition. Another tip is to keep it simple. I see well-intended Cub Scout leaders develop a ceremony that is trying way too hard to incorporate symbolism, hidden meanings, or become a commentary on life. As an adult, look, I appreciate ceremonies that have symbolism behind them. But in Cub Scouting, our participants, the Cub Scouts, they don't have the cognitive ability yet to grasp symbolism. They need direct ties and connections. A tip from the experts is that the Scout Oath and Law and the Cub Scout motto is all you need to draw from when it comes to a great ceremony. The words to describe the Scout Oath and Law are written in the Cub Scout handbook in a way that Cub Scout age children can understand. Use those words. They are powerful. Now, our last tip for ceremonies is simply to make it fun. And the first part of making something fun is to ensure that what you are doing is safe. Keeping Cub Scouts safe physically and keeping your pack a place where all Cub Scouts can feel emotionally safe too. Regardless if you are trying to develop your own ceremony or using one someone else developed, read through it. Make sure it does not violate anything found in the Guide to Safe Scouting. You may come across something that is not specifically stated in the Guide to Safe Scouting as a prohibited activity, but look, common sense is always expected of all of our leaders. Scouting activities, including ceremonies, are to uphold scouting values and be age appropriate. If it looks questionable to you or makes you feel uncomfortable, take it out. Just don't do it. Great ceremonies uplift each member and puts the Scout Oath and Scout Law at the center. If you are ever part of an experience or ceremony that poses a physical threat to anyone, or you have a responsibility to stop it immediately. The same is true if a ceremony has elements of emotional harm, such as passing judgment on a Cub Scout's worthiness, being culturally insensitive, or withholding an award or advancement. All of these things are in conflict with the Scout Oath and Scout Law. When Cub Scouts, parents, and leaders know it is safe, they can relax and enjoy the ceremony. Making it safe is the first step to making it fun. There are so many ways to make ceremonies fun, we could spend a lot more time on it, and in fact, that is exactly what we're going to do now. Because now is the time for you to share. Take the remainder of the time to consider the following. What does your pack or den do to provide instant recognition? When would a ceremony be appropriate in a den or a pack? What does your den or pack do to make ceremonies fun? What does your pack do special for Cub Scouts when they earn their rank? How does your pack involve parents or legal guardians when recognizing Cub Scouts? And I have a request. I really would like for you to personally reflect on this question. Are the ceremonies your pack or den do follow these guidelines we discussed tonight? All right. Look forward to these discussions, and I look forward to seeing you next time.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Well, I've assembled a group of a cast here to assist me here. I want to introduce our panel that we have here for Roundtable. So to my left is TJ Withers. He is the new member coordinator for PAC 3001 in West Akron. Welcome, TJ.
Thank you.
Next to him is Jericho Johnson, who wears many hats in council, but tonight we're going to go with that he is a member of our council training committee. So, Jericho, welcome.
Thank you.
Next to him is Reverend David Wyrick, who probably wears more hats in the council than any of us combined. But he is here tonight in the role as Vice President of Relationships for the council. We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on tonight. Welcome, David. And next to him, someone that David knows quite well, is Josh Wyrick. And he is the Assistant Cub Master and Lion Den Leader for PAC 3048 in Ellett. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you.
So, before we get started with our topic, Sherry Buck, our Council Commissioner, has a couple of questions that came in over the chat that she wanted to get answered. So, Sherry, what do you got for us?
Thank you, Vinny. I have one question. For year-round recruitments, how do you suggest we have den leaders get all scouts their requirements to advance to the next den?
All right, that's a good question. Yeah, so even year-round recruitment is kind of a new thing, but we've had spring recruitment for a while. So what are some of the things that you guys, as working with PACs, what have you done when you get somebody that doesn't join in September or October, that joins later in the year, to get them up to speed? Whoever wants to start. Jericho, you want to?
So when I was a Cub leader, if we had someone join in the spring, we didn't really focus on getting them that particular rank that year, say bear rank or wolf or whatever it was that the grade level they might be, but we kept them involved in those activities, our PAC meetings, and then of course a very important piece was getting them to go to our summertime PAC activities.
Right, that's very important. And also they can work on their Bobcat because you're going to need that for every rank, and they can start learning the Scout Oath and the Scout Law and all of the joining requirements, even if they're not necessarily earning that rank, because that's hard to do in 2 months if they join, say, in March. But like Jericho said, come June 1st, you can start working on your next rank regardless of when you actually joined. Anybody else? Josh, you have any ideas? You're a den leader, so that might be helpful.
As a den leader, it's if they don't join in September, which is typical the joining time, it's more about getting them involved in what you're currently working on, and also too, you can work with the parents or adult that they have with them and say, here's the things that we worked on and how if you want to try to get some things done. But it's ultimately just getting them involved and doing what you're doing and understanding that you don't have to earn a specific rank for whatever grade you're in to move on to the next one. You just automatically move up even if you haven't earned it.
Yeah, that is important, because when I was a den leader and a cub master, we would sometimes get that, they would ask, well, I didn't join until my child was a bear. Can they go back and earn the wolf rank? No, that's not how it works. You always work forward. So yeah, that's a good point. Anybody else have anything you want to chime in? Go ahead, TJ.
I'll add on. We've pretty much just rolled the kids in and let them have fun and learn as they go and kind of get incorporated in the pack. And then they're more likely to continue with us the next year around for the next rank.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's all about making sure they're having fun, because that's a big part of the program. All right, Sherry, any other chat questions that you have?
Not at this time.
All right. Okay, so we wanted to talk about the video that just played on advancement, which was the video from Anthony Berger. One of the things that he talked about in there was how you ought to, as a pack in a den, think about doing the presentation of your advancement immediate. Present the belt loops and the pins as soon as they're earned, instead of waiting until your next pack meeting, or in some cases, we've even heard, some packs hold off on all of their awards until the blue and gold in February, which is probably not a good idea if that's something that you guys do. But talk to us about, how do you, in your dens and packs, recognize your scouts when they've earned a belt loop or a pin? Josh, you want to start?
Well, we've always traditionally been a pack that we take it 1 month at a time, and what we do is all the dens work on their awards and their adventures and what they're doing, and then we, at the end of each month, we have our traditional pack meeting where we typically pass out the awards and recognitions to each of the dens, and we try to keep it short and not go too long with that. And so if anyone wants to start doing the immediate recognition, that's something good to think about too. But also, it's about 3 or 4 weeks in between when we've given out awards, and we try not to make it longer than that, because the longer you wait, the less it's of value, because the Cubs aren't going to be as interested,
Sure.
And we don't want to make them feel like I'm never going to earn anything.
Sure. Yeah, that's important, that you don't want them to forget what it was that they did. Anybody else? TJ,
I'll
you're...
join in.
Yeah.
So for our pack 3001, we just have we do it during the pack meeting at the end of every month, and then we kind of keep it brief, get everything through, make sure the kids know what they're doing, having a good time, and then just continue to the next one.
Okay. All right. So what we want to talk about next is, David, you're here because you've got a program that you have started with Sherry Buck, our council commissioner, to talk about a welcoming environment and what units do or should be doing to make new families feel welcome. So you want to talk for a couple of minutes about this project you've been working on?
Sure. So this came about, actually, for me, about 2 years ago, the situation that happened, and then I was sharing with Sherry about that at our recent board retreat, and back in January. And what happened to me about 2 years ago was I was checking out at my local Acme, and I usually go to the same checkout person, cashier, or if I can, I've gotten to know a few of them. And one of them was there and knew I was involved in scouting. And so I said, hey, how you doing? She goes, oh, I'm so excited because tonight we're going to Cub Scouts.
And she knew you were in scouting.
Right,
so,
she knew I was involved in scouts. She says, my daughter and I are going to our first Cub Scout meeting. Yeah, I said, she's going to have a great time. Oh, she's going to have a great time. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. Great. So I had probably 6 weeks, 2 months later, maybe, I was there again. There she was, and I got in the line, and I said, how's Cub Scouts going? And she said, oh, we didn't go back. I went that first night and sat there the whole night, and nobody talked to me. Nobody said a word to me. My daughter thought it was okay, but nobody said a word to me, so we left. But it's okay. It's good because we joined Girl Scouts. And they welcomed us with open arms, and I'm actually going to be helping with cookies already. Wow. So I'm going. I was really upset about that.
Well, sure.
So Sherry and I were talking then in January about, things with PACs and everything. And I said, before we talk about all these other things, advancement and program and everything like that, the first thing we have to do is have a welcoming environment. We have to show hospitality to anybody who comes in the door. Day one, job one. As soon as they come to visit, nobody should say, whoa, gee, nobody talked to me. Everyone should be welcome. So thus we created then the WIRE concept, which we just released a very quick 5-minute video that explains about WIRE and what that means to be able to help PACs and troops too, for that matter, to be able to start doing some things to thinking about creating a hospitable environment.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're actually going to watch that video right now. So we'll watch that, and then on the other side, we'll come back and we'll have a little bit of a chat about it.
Hello, my name is David Wyrick, and I have the honor of serving as the Great Trail Council's Vice President of Relationships. Hey, let's talk about something that we often overlook but can make or break scouting units, and that's first impressions. We've all heard the saying, there's no second chance at a first impression, and that can't be truer. Research shows us that around 90% of people form a lasting opinion based on that very first encounter. In other words, we do judge a book by its cover. And so do the parents and kids who come to check out your unit for the first time. So, what impression are you giving? Is it warm and welcoming, or is it unknowingly putting up barriers? The best way to ensure that first impressions are positive is to make hospitality your unit's top priority. Think of it as your job one. Just like Ford's famous motto on quality, without hospitality, we're sunk. Now, why is hospitality so crucial? Sadly, it's a lost art, something many of us have neglected or even distorted over time. But here's the thing. Hospitality is key to creating good first impressions and building lasting relationships. When we practice genuine hospitality, we create a place where parents and kids feel welcome, trusted, and safe. And isn't that what scouting's all about? A place where everyone feels welcome. And remember, scouting invites every youth to a safe, fun place to learn, explore, and grow. So let's break hospitality down with the WIRED approach. W-I-R-E-D. W, welcome visitors. I, invite them to return next week. R, build relationships. E, encourage them to help with something small. D, demonstrate servanthood. Start with W. W, welcome visitors. First things first, make sure your meeting space is easy to find. How often do units meet in hard-to-locate church basements? Get some signs up. Next, make sure the room is clean and well lit. Nobody wants to hang out in a dingy, yucky space. And most importantly, have someone there to greet everyone with a smile at the door. A friendly face goes a long way. Don't forget to give each visitor a printed brochure with great photos, upcoming events, and leaders' bios, including that they've taken YPT. Skip the QR codes, okay? People are more likely to read something that's physically put in their hands. I, invite them to return next week. It's a simple saying. We hope you and your child had a great time. We'd love to see you again next week. Please come back. That personal invitation can make all the difference on whether they come back or not. R, build relationships. Relationships don't just happen overnight. They start with being known, then being liked, then finally being trusted. Parents want to feel that they can trust the leaders in the unit. But trust is built step by step. Be intentional about first getting to get known, then showing kindness, being liked, and then earning trust. E, encourage. Encourage helping with something small. Involve new parents in small ways. Maybe they could bring some snacks or help set up or join in on a hike. Remember, little pixels make big pictures. Those small actions are the building blocks of involvement. And as the saying goes, tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. D, demonstrate servanthood. Lead by example. Our habits shape our attitudes, which in turn influence others. Be the kind of leader who walks the talk. When you show servanthood, others will be inspired to follow your lead and get involved. So, by being wired, you're setting the stage for lasting connections with both parents and potential scouts. It doesn't take a lot of time or money, just some effort. And remember, you get out of it what you put into it. So start now and watch your unit grow into a welcoming, thriving, hospitable community.
All right. Well, we have a familiar person that was just on that video. David, anything you want to add into that video?
Yeah, thank you for watching. If anything, for any pack, any unit, anything, if anything, at least have a welcoming environment and invite people to come back. Especially the welcoming environment is huge. There is no second chance at a first impression. That's proven. There's study after study. I just let another one out of psychology today that up to 86 to 92% of any encounter you have with anyone or a restaurant or anything like that, you're going to walk away with a first impression and it's going to stay with you. Mm-hmm. So there's no second chance at a first impression. Also, too, no matter what, when you're dealing with people to people, people will automatically look at you and judge you on three things. They'll judge you on your gender, your race, and your age. And of all those three things, the biggest thing that's going to surface more than those is your age, believe it or not. And unfortunately, the farther the distance in age between people, the harder it is to create relationships. Now, you can't control your gender, your race, or your age, but you can control your facial expression, you can control what you say, you can control your intonation of how you say it, you can control your body language, you can control how welcoming you are. Those things have to surface. So it doesn't matter who's going to do the welcoming, but somebody's got to be there to be able to welcome people and show an excitement and enthusiasm every week about scouting. And then, if anything, invite new people to come back. I mean, anytime you go somewhere where you know you've had a great experience, people will say, boy, I hope you come back. Come back. And if somebody's coming to your house and you have a great time, please come back. Let's get together again. That personal invitation is huge. The welcoming environment and the please, y'all come back now are two vital things.
Okay, let's talk to our other Cub leaders. What are some things that you do in your packs to make it a welcoming? We have a new unit member coordinator here, so this is right up your alley. What are you doing to make it a welcoming environment for your pack?
So we've been trying to greet everybody and keep just a friendly environment, make sure everybody's getting all the information they need. And then we've tried to, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Make sure it's a very welcome environment. Speak to everybody. Make sure nobody's just sitting on their own and kind of out of the way, and get the kids involved with the other kids. And then before everybody leaves, we try to, say thank you for coming. Mm-hmm. Please come back the next time around, or next Tuesday in our case. And then just make sure they have all the information that they need.
Now, you just had an open house, I think you said 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And you had quite a few signups. So how's that been working? You have two weeks in. Everybody's gotten familiar with meeting their dens and their den leaders and getting acclimated to that?
Yeah, for the most part, we've got a bunch of new lion cubs, so they're all completely fresh, learning the ropes. And then we've had a couple dens that have doubled in size,
Okay.
and the kids have been enjoying themselves.
Okay.
I think that's the biggest thing. The kids are enjoying themselves.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then we're trying to keep constant activity. So a couple of our dens are going hiking next week. We went to the fire station
Awesome.
last week. Another den going to a gym this week. So we're just trying to keep the kids fairly well engaged and then learning while having fun.
Yeah, and if they're excited, they want to come back next week, then you know you've done your job. So Josh, you're a lion den leader. You had an open house recently too. You got a bunch of new signups. So how is it working? Because you're wearing two hats. You're an assistant cub master and you're doing the den leader role. So what is your pack doing for the welcoming environment that your dad was talking about?
Well, we just had our open house night. We meet at a Methodist church in Akron, and that was back the second Monday in September. So we got a lot new scouts. Our tigers this year are about 10, so that's the biggest we've had in a long time. And so one of the things we do to be welcoming is we always try to, at the main entrance to the church where we meet, we always try to have somebody there to welcome people, and especially if there's new families that come in, and we'll ask them, introduce ourselves, ask them what grade they're in, and then we make sure that they get to whatever room the dens are meeting in for their grade, and then we always tell the den leader, this is a new scout and everything, and they get them involved in it and everything, and we want to make sure that the scout is having a great time and everything, and that they're having just as much fun as all the scouts that have been there. And one of the things we like to do with new families is we've created a flyer. It's a little book that's like a couple pages that basically we can give them that goes through all of the things in Cub Scouting and all of the terms like what's a pack meeting, what's a den meeting, and that kind of thing, because so many times we use things like we're going to say the scout oath, but a new scout or a new family will probably have no idea what that is. So we try to help them with understanding just the basics of the program.
That's a great point, because we've seen now, you probably know the statistics as well as anybody, how we now have a generation of families that are coming into scouting where the parent probably wasn't in the program. It wasn't like when we came through scouting where our parents were initially in the program, so they had that reference. Now we have families coming in that they know nothing about us. So
Sure.
that's a great point there.
And that's why it's important, and he'd mentioned about their booklet, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing to have something, in writing, something in their hands, because that booklet gets put somewhere, or that brochure gets put somewhere. It gets picked up. It gets looked at again. It sits down. It gets whatever.
Yeah.
They say that the reason that they continue to print Scout Life magazine is because when Scout Life is in the home, it gets looked at least 8 times.
Sure.
Same with the brochure. And I think it's important that PACs, especially with new parents, have something that first night to give. And as I mentioned in the video, it's vital that there's information about the leader. Okay?
Yes.
There's information about there. Mr. such and such, Miss such and such has been a Cub Scout leader for 5 years, whatever, and has youth protection training.
Always important.
That's right, because parents want to know if they can trust those leaders. That's a huge factor. And those things right there, picture of the leaders, their background, what they do, their training, that's vital and important. But in this whole day and age of technology, the brochure or the booklet still speaks.
Sure. People want to leave with something tangible in their hands. It's hard to walk out with a QR code.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So we talked about. Did you want something to add, Jericho?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
Yeah.
I would like to talk a little bit about some of the topics in Dave's video.
Yeah.
When I first saw that Wired training video, I thought it was fantastic. I did consult with a couple other Cub Scout pack leaders that I know who are also very successful with their packs. And they shared with me what they liked and some of the challenges that they have in making those exact things happen. So your join nights do take planning. One recommendation we have is try to have enough leaders so that you can have your activity with the youth being run by a couple of leaders, and then your committee chair or Cub master can take the new families into a separate space where there's not as much chaos and talk to them. Tell them about your pack, hand out your schedule or brochure if you have something, talk about the cost, talk about the activities and things you do. Give them that one-on-one attention so that you're not divided, going back and forth between the parents and the activity. That one-on-one attention is key because that's how you're going to begin to build that relationship. Give them an opportunity to ask questions. That also begins that hospitality piece that Dave talked about in the video. I know on a week-to-week basis when you're running, say, den leaders are running their meeting, it's very difficult to also have some time with the parents. So some ideas there are to maybe before or after the meeting have an opportunity, try to make an opportunity to talk to the parents. That's a great opportunity to maybe invite them to help out a little bit, which is another one of his ideas. Ask someone to bring the snack. Ask someone to bring some materials that you're going to use at the next den meeting, things like that. And that also gives you that opportunity to do that personal invite. But planning, it does take planning, but trying to deliberately make time to have some one-on-one with the parents will help you build those relationships and make them feel welcome.
Yeah, those are all excellent points. Anything you wanted to add to that as far as some of the suggestions you talked about?
Oh, those are excellent
Yeah, those are
suggestions.
very
Anything, the things that are going to work, and everybody's going to approach it a little bit differently. But the most important thing is creating that environment of welcoming, that hospitable environment that says, I want to come back.
So David talked in the video about some units meet in the dark basement of their church. Do any of you do that sort of thing? So none of you are deep down in the bowels of the church that you have to worry about that.
No, I have visited with you.
You have definitely visited. Yes.
I went to one last year. The door's locked, and where I went to was locked. I didn't know where to go in. I saw there were other cars. I went in. I had no clue where to go.
Yeah.
I had asked somebody, where do the Scouts meet? They're downstairs somewhere.
Yeah.
So in addition to signage, if you're able to put something up at maybe the entrance to your building, another suggestion I got from someone was there were multiple groups meeting on the same night at their church where their pack meets. So they put a Cub Scout in uniform at the door, at the outside door.
That's a great thing to do.
Because as you're pulling into the parking lot, if you see you might not see or be able to read the sign, but if you see a Cub Scout in uniform, you're going to know that's where you're trying to go.
You know exactly that's where to go. Right. Yeah, and also, as a note to our units that are watching this right now, if you do need signage, we have signage available here in the council office that you can utilize for those sorts of things. So talk to your unit commissioner, talk to your district commissioner. They can make arrangements, and we have lots of that sort of stuff available to you for free right here from the council. So anything else? Anybody want to add on that topic? We had a lot of good discussion there. So thank you for doing that. I think this is going to be a great resource for our units going forward in making that welcoming environment that I think you said in the video too, David. It's a lost art, and you need to build up that, because that's the only way we're going to retain youth is building that relationship. They're not going to stick around because of 100 years of history. They're going to, and if you don't understand hospitality, just go to Disney and you'll get to understand. Absolutely.
You'll get it.
They are the masters of it.
More than you can handle, but they got it. They figure it out.
That's right. Okay. All right, moving on. We have some information on some upcoming training for our Cub Scout leaders. Who better to talk about this than somebody on the council training committee? So Jericho is going to talk to us about some of this training. And
all right,
go for it.
We have some great events coming up. Coming up on October 12th and 13th, there's still a few spots open for you to get your leaders Baloo trained. As most of our experienced Cub Masters and committee chairs know, you must have a Baloo trained individual on any of your overnight outings. It's going to be at Camp Manitowoc, October 12th and 13th. Registration is available through that link on the screen. A new event that we have this year is a Cub Scout, the new program keynote event that we're doing on November 2nd. So at 9 a.m. on November 2nd, we have a presentation by Vinny Close here, who's going to give lots of details and a question and answer session about the new Cub program and advancement and things like that. And then immediately following, for those new leaders who need it, we're going to have the position-specific training for den leaders, Cub Masters, and committee members and committee chairs. So it's 9 o'clock for the keynote address and the question and answer session, and the leader training will start at 10:30. And because we're starting later for the Cub leader training, that event will include lunch for those that are attending the position training. If November 2nd doesn't work, we also have another one on November 9th that will just be the Cub position specific training at St. Stephen's Church in Stowe as well.
Okay, yeah, and you can see on the screen there, you can go to the Great Trail Council page for your sign up and get signed up for that training. We have a question I see from our chat. So Sherry, what you got for us?
PAC 3454 would like to know, if unable to go in October, when will the next Baloo training be and how much does it cost?
That's a great question. So our council right now, we offer Baloo twice a year. So October is the last one this fall in Great Trail. Our next one is going to be April 11th and 12th, 2025. And in that event, one of the advantages, one of the benefits of the new adventure fee is that training will be free to adult leaders. Registered adult leaders can attend for free in 2025.
So there is a charge for the one next weekend.
Yes.
But if you take it in 25, then there won't be, because that'll be part of the adventure.
Yes, we're still on the old cycle, and so next week's Baloo does have a minimal cost, as does the Cub Leader training. And the one on November 2nd, the cost is primarily about the lunch.
Right.
Because we're going to give you a nice
Yeah,
lunch.
and to point out too about the lunch, that event is going to be held in conjunction with the College of Commissioner Science. So there will be all the council leadership and commissioners will be there. So the lunch will actually be with the commissioners. So you can sit and eat lunch with these commissioners and swap stories and gain some insight.
And maybe even learn what your unit commissioner is.
That's right.
A lot of Cub PACs don't really know much about what the role or what the role of the unit commissioner is, or who their commissioner is. Those unit commissioners will be there, and they can get to know them or learn more about their relationship. Your unit commissioner is there to help guide you with all those questions that you don't know the answer for. They're experienced leaders who they've moved out of the unit level, and they're advising units at the commissioner level.
Yeah. And I'll say real quick too, the presentation that I will be doing for that keynote, it is going to be a different presentation than the ones that I've done in the past. So if you've watched the YouTube videos that we recorded back in February and March about the new Cub program, or saw any of the presentations that I did, it is going to be a different program. So don't think that, oh, I've heard Vinny talk about this before. This will be different, some different content that's been updated now that we've been in it for a few months. Sherry, you've got another question for us.
Jericho, we have a comment that the fall 2024 Baloo course is full.
So it was, but we've had a couple of cancellations, and that should be opening back up tomorrow. There'll be at least 4 openings on that course.
Okay. Because it's an overnight course, correct?
Yes, Baloo is an overnight course. It's Saturday through Sunday in the fall, 7 a.m. Saturday, all-day programming. It's a very fun course. You're going to have fun and meet other leaders and learn a lot of new things. Then they stay overnight, and it finishes up on Sunday morning.
Yeah, and I believe you mentioned it too, just as a reminder again, for every outing that your PAC does, you have to have at least one Baloo-trained leader at that event, and it's always a good idea to have more than one Baloo-trained person there, because if you only have one and something happens to that person in the middle of the event and has to go home, you've got to cancel the event. So it's important to make sure that you've got multiple people in your pack that have taken Baloo training.
And on one final note on Baloo, or any of our leader trainings, you don't have to attend a training in Great Trail Council to become trained. If it turns out that Lake Erie Council or Buckeye Council has a date that works better for you, or has another date after ours, you're welcome to attend those. You do get credit for that. They'll usually give you a trained certificate, which you can bring back and present, and then it can get entered into our system.
Yep, it'll get entered into your My Scouting training record.
And your My Scouting record.
Speaking of My Scouting, wanted to remind our PACs, make sure that you are going into My.Scouting into the organization manager, thank you, and make sure that you are going in and approving the membership renewals. It's especially important with the Cub PACs because membership renewals may likely be taking place starting now, especially for anybody that joined Cub Scouts this time last year. So you got to make sure that you're going into there and approving those renewals. Okay. Next thing, we talked about this last month, but we wanted to make sure that all you Cub leaders were aware of the upcoming Cub Hayrides and Harvest event. Now this year the event will take place on 5 nights in October, not 5 nights at Freddy's. That's my dad joke for the night. Starting next weekend. You can see those dates right there on screen, starting next weekend, October 11th and 12th, then again on the 18th and 19th and the 25th. The event is at Camp Butler from 7:30 to 9:30 each night. It takes place rain or moonshine, so dress appropriately. Even if it's raining, they will go out. New this year will be some harvest-themed crafts, games, and activities that will be taking place in addition to the hayrides. Tickets are $10 per person if you purchase online and in advance, and they will be $12 per person if you purchase at the gate. And kids age 3 and under are free. Now, anyone who is in line by 9 o'clock will get a hayride. So for more details and to purchase tickets, you can go to the website address you see there, scoutingevent.com/433 hayride. All right, finally, we wanted to let you know that even though we just started with the fall season, it is never too late to start thinking about summer. We've updated all of the Cub Scout pages, especially the Cub Scout camping page, with information on summer programs for next year, including some save the date information on Cub Day Camp and Cub Overnight Camp. An important thing to note for next year about Cub Overnight Camp, which we used to call Cub Resident Camp, which is now just we're calling it Overnight Camp. Starting next year in 2025, if you will be Wolf, Bear, Webelos, or Arrow of Light in the fall of 2025, you can attend overnight camp. It is no longer just for Webelos and Arrow of Lights. So important to note that. And then anybody, of course, can attend day camp. So go check out that website and see everything that's out there. Also, a reminder to Cub leaders, check and see if your Scouts earned the new Cub Summertime Fun Adventure for this past summer. Check and see if your youth participated in 3 scouting activities between May of 24 and the end of August of 24. Important to remember that attending day camp or overnight camp is not required to earn this adventure. So that's important. You might have done stuff, and go back and take a look and see what was done. I know what everybody is thinking. I know you're probably all writing furiously in the chats right now. We don't meet over the summer. We stop at the end of school. We know that. But we also know that retention rates are higher and recruiting numbers are better for those PACs that do things over the summer. So we have some PACs here. I want to go to, TJ, go to your PAC because you guys did a really cool thing this summer where your PAC met organically every week throughout the summer. It was nothing that was planned by any of the adults. You didn't work on advancement. You just decided to get together. So talk about how that came about and what are some of the things that you did?
So towards the end of the school year, we decided that in order to help retention, we would meet every week and do a different activity. So we went hiking, we went fishing, we went to our church, and the kids just played, had fun. We had water gun fights, balloon fights, just whatever we could do to keep the kids engaged and having fun during the summer. And it worked out great. I know a lot of kids got to go fishing for the first time. I know my kids got to learn how to use a spinning reel. It just worked out really well.
And it was kind of just come as you are. So, I mean, vacations happen, things happen. Not everybody, I'm sure, made every weekly meeting, but you just kind of said, hey, if you can make it, you can make it, great. And I'm sure everybody then has earned the summertime fun adventure because as long as you did 3 things, they get that belt loop.
Yeah, I would assume that a good majority of our pack earned the summertime adventure. And then we even turned our, not open house, but our school district ended up doing a zoo activity for all the new kids. So we turned that into a scout meeting, or not scout meeting, but just a scout group in general. So the kids got to go around the zoo together.
That's great. That's great. Josh, what does your pack do? Anything over the summer?
Yeah, in the summer, we try to do a few big activities. So this past summer, along with day camp and Weeblo's resident camp, we did a scout outing night at the Rubber Ducks baseball in Akron. And we also did a day trip over to Pennsylvania to the Idlewild Amusement Park.
I love that park.
Water thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to plan a few major activities, usually like one in June, one in July, and maybe one in August, one a month.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you do the sleepover at the Rubber Ducks game?
We didn't because we didn't have the information from them soon enough to be able to plan that. So we just decided we're just going to plan an evening game for everybody to go to.
Yeah. So that actually is something. All of the minor league ball teams that are in this area, so the Akron Rubber Ducks, the Lake County Captains, the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, they all do a summertime. Also, can't forget also in Avon is the Lake Erie Crushers. That's an independent team. They all do a scout night at some time during the summer, and as long as they get you the information in enough time, they do a camp out in the outfield after the game is over with. I did it with my son when he was a Cub Scout. We had a ball because they show a movie on the scoreboard. They'll come out with wiffle bats and balls. Some of the players will come out after they showered and maybe play catch with some of the Cub Scouts. They thought that was the greatest thing ever, that they're playing catch with a professional baseball player on the field. So that worked out great. Don't plan on sleeping because it's not going to happen. You're going to be up until 3 in the morning because the kids are running around on the outfield like crazy. But it is a great time, and it is something that the kids will definitely remember. Jericho, you got something to add?
Yeah, so we did the same thing. We went to Rubber Ducks games for the scout night. I have to tell you, sleeping on the outfield is the softest grass you've ever been on. And they're also so generous. Yeah. So in addition to those activities, if for some reason the weather doesn't work out and they cancel the overnight portion, they gave every one of us tickets to the next game when they rescheduled the overnight part.
Yeah, that's
so
great.
You got to go to another baseball game for free.
And you get a patch because kids love patches, so you get a uniform patch.
So when I ran a Cub Scout pack, and that pack continues to do this to this day, we would schedule 2 activities every month through the summer, just a couple of our favorites. We would go fishing at Silver Creek Park in Stowe. We would go up to the Cuyahoga Valley Park and either hike trails at the ledges, or another favorite was to do the bike aboard on the Cuyahoga Valley National Railroad. Take your bikes, get on the train and go down 1 or 2 stops, and then bike on the towpath trail back up to where your car is. We particularly love doing that, coming back to the Boston Mill Station, because there's the national park has a little store there, and you can get ice cream, which is a fantastic thing to get at the end of that bike ride.
As Steve loves telling me, Cubs love ice cream.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And that's another great event. Just have a little ice cream social with your pack.
Yeah, yeah.
So, just planning a couple fun events. Oh, $5 movie night. That was another one.
Yes.
In the summertime, a lot of theaters will run maybe a once a week or a couple times a month $5 movie night. The great thing about this is it doesn't just have to be the Cub, right? The whole family can come to those events. Go to the $5 movie night for a fun family movie, do biking, the fishing, ice cream, whatever. The whole family gets to enjoy it, keeps them involved, and gets them excited about the fall program.
I noticed one thing, the three of you, one thing that you didn't say was you weren't working on advancement. You weren't working on bookwork. It was just a fun activity.
Yep, definitely not.
But at the same time, there might have been some things that were just happening organically that if you go back later, maybe they earned a fishing adventure belt loop, or maybe they earned something relating to going to a baseball game or those sorts of things. And it just happens without you specifically carving out time. So that's important to note that it's just a fun activity. And if advancement happens, great. But the point is more just to stay active during the summer, because I think you've all said your retention rates are much higher than they were before you started doing those sorts of things.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank our speakers that are here tonight. Thank you coming in, since we pulled this off in about 72 hours, I want everybody to know. And I am so grateful that you guys were able to make it on short notice. We do appreciate it, and we've got some great information from all of you. So thank you to our speakers and all of the others that helped us behind the scenes. Our next Cub Roundtable will be right back here on YouTube Live on Thursday, November 7th. To close out tonight, we have a video that you can use in your recruiting events that emphasizes how Cub Scouting is for everyone and how you are all welcome in our program. Thank you for all that you do for Scouting. We'll see you on the trail. Good night, everyone.
And even if it's been a while, after all the many miles, you're always welcome here. And whoa, and even if life brings a change, I know we'll be the same. You're always welcome here. You're always welcome.
I do this because I love the interaction with kids, and you make friendships for life.
And whoa, always welcome, always welcome.
It's been a great experience. We've made a lot of wonderful friends. It's just a great program for kids, I think.
Cub Scouts gives you an opportunity to build relationships with people. It was just something different all the time. So it's been a really good experience to actually be a part of.
I love being able to teach the kids, watching them light up when they get something that they're frustrated about. They just are like, yay!
And even if it's been a while, after all the many miles, you're always welcome here. And even if life brings a change, I know we'll be the same. You're always welcome here. You're always welcome.